My name is David. Why can't anybody understand me?
Howdy guys, just want to start this video off with a comment about the other night with what happened at Lewiston, Maine. That's about 70 miles from where I live here in central Maine to the south, right off on Interstate 95. And I was actually up and I was working on something on my not so smartphone. And I got the notification, I mean, just minutes old, and I just followed it for the next few hours. And well, it's the gun's fault. You know, we got to do something with the guns. And well, let me ask you this. For those of us who are older, I was born in 60, but so I basically grew up, came of age in the 70s, graduated from high school in 1977. Come the fall, we would roll into high school, the parking lots, parked along the streets, and we had our mostly shotguns. Sometimes rifles, could be a 22, could be a 30-06 270 or 25-06, who knows. And the gun rack that was always in the ubiquitous gun rack that was always there in the rear window, and almost all the vehicles back then were standard cabs. When they started to come out with the extended cabs, that was more of a novelty or a luxury. I don't even know, I suppose there were any number of situations where we wouldn't even lock our doors. I'm sure I did, but you didn't have to. So what changed? In 45 years, what changed? Did the guns change? No, just like these rocks haven't changed, the trees haven't changed. Just like that standby generator right down there, that hasn't changed. We changed. Why did we change? Well, we know why we changed. Between political correctness and woke culture, we're not allowed to talk about it. Bullshit. The reason that this is happening more and more with these mass shootings and other abject violence is because we don't believe in anything anymore. We don't believe in anything. We try to believe in ourselves. You know that as fallible people, as fallible human beings with a sin nature, forget it. You don't lean upon your own understanding. So we turn to science as though there's no bias or prejudice built into science, as though, the scientific method that you try to develop something, see if it's falsifiable. Now it's basically science based upon ideology and worldview. That's what drives it. So the outcome tends to follow what the person's philosophy is toward life. We just don't believe in anything. We've been convinced that we came from nothing, we're going to nothing, so everything in between is meaningless. I refuse to believe that we're nothing more than a bug splat on the windscreen of life. That's ridiculous to think that nothing made everything and that everything nothing made was made dead, but somehow it figured out how to come alive. Come on now. What I'm getting at is what I think is at the root of so much of our what's ailing us, and not just the United States, but in the totality of the Western civilization. This is not sustainable. We don't believe in anything, and looking at it from our perspective as Americans, woke culture, Marxism, it's fundamentally destroyed male-female relationships. It's co-opted basic biology. No, I can't have a baby. Stop telling me I can. What the hell is up with that? Boy, no, I didn't get a shot. I didn't get the poke. Is that going to get me banned from YouTube saying that? Heaven forbid that we have that kind of audacity to actually speak our mind. Science is wonderful when it's not being manipulated. And it's being manipulated, and people are just too quick to buy it. So back in the 1960s, in the mid-60s, when Johnson came out with his Great Society, and we're going to end poverty in our lifetime, well, it's been about 3 or 4 generations since then, at least 3. And all I ever hear is how poverty keeps getting worse, despite all the trillions of dollars. And, what happened was that The government check replaced the father. The family started to dissolve, and then came the church. Look at the condition of our public school system. It's a joke. They're propaganda mills is all they are, and we're going to pay a price for that. Maybe we already are. But we don't have anything that affords stability in our society or in our culture. Everything's in flux. And to think that what happened over in Israel, it's what a sick world, man, and I think it's getting sicker. I think we should just do a better job of leaving each other alone. I just want to be left alone. I try to do things the right way. You know, you get into that, and I try to abide by the law and pay my taxes, but mainly I just leave people alone. But there are tens of millions of people in this country that they can't abide that. They have to be in control of everyone else's life when in fact they're not even in control of their own life. If we make decisions on an individual level that's based on emotion, how often does that work? It doesn't. We can't even effectively focus emotion back at ourselves in order to help us make good or better decisions. What makes folks think that funneling hatred and animus and this wrath into an entire country, which now has probably 350 million people, that emotion's going to be able to control that and lead to a nirvana, when in fact you can't even rely on it on an individual level. The whole thing is crazy. So no, my goal at this point, I'll be 64 in January. And guys, you have no idea how much I've been through. I mean, my health, you know, and right now, I mean, I guess you could say I'm dying of COPD. That was a wonderful diagnosis. And it's a lot worse than that. I've survived cancer 3 times. I've had 7 shoulder surgeries, neck surgery, back surgery. I'm getting a knee replaced second week in November. I haven't even scratched the surface. But I'm still here, and I'm thankful for the doctors and nurses and everyone in the medical community who's kept me patched together. I mean, I've had more things cut out and lopped off than, I mean, you can make another one of me. No, that wouldn't be a good idea. I was thinking, no, that would mean more things have to get lopped off. And anyway, I digress. So I want to get into the video here. And, you know, I first watched it on James Freeman's channel in terms of, yeah, the officer's he's going to prison. And I want to just cover quickly why. How did he screw up all the things he did wrong? Because he didn't do anything right. So I guess you could say from the time he laid eyes on those 2 people in the car in the parking lot to the time he ended up murdering the female driver, he didn't do anything right. On a Saturday at 8 o'clock in the evening, I think it's like the 4th of November, I'll be doing a live podcast with Wrights Crispy. So I wanted to make sure I let you know about that. And if it is November 4th, I think it's a Saturday. If it is, you should tune in, not only because I'm rugged and handsome and smart and all the other things, including humble, but RC is going to be giving away books, my books, and I even made my own bumper stickers. Man of many talents. And they're really good too. I've added a few bumper stickers back in my 2019 Nissan Rogue. They have, you know, general comments about the ATF and the FBI. Fun. Freedom of speech. So we're going to go ahead and get into the video. It has to do with the court case Garner v. Tennessee, the fleeing felon, whether the officers are authorized to use deadly force to stop a fleeing felon. You'll see. It'll take about 6.11 seconds of analysis to figure out what this cop did wrong. And the biggest mistake that was made was he was born, because he's going to rue the day. Take my word for it. People don't think he's going to pay a price now. Oh, the DA's doing this, and okay, this is a recent incident, but he's going to pay a price. Take that to the bank. along with your precious metals. It's a neighbor. Never did like that fella. Not right in the head. There you go. Let's get into the videotape. Las Cruces, New Mexico Police Department. The date was October 3rd, 2023. The incident involved an Officer Hernandez of 3 years experience. And like so many other of these situations, it started with an unlawful detention, which led into an immediate escalation by Officer Hernandez, which then led into the use of deadly force, putting the female driver into an early grave. And who do I blame for this? Whoever those 9 robed injustices were in the Supreme Court in 1968 when they handed down Terry v. Ohio. They lowered the bar from police contacts from probable cause to reasonable suspicion. It's been butchered and manipulated and incorrectly applied for the last almost 56 years. They still can't get it right. Even though there's more than one Supreme Court case law that applies in this situation, the one that I want to focus on is the 1985 case called Tennessee v. Garner, where the court laid out the circumstances under which an officer may use deadly force against a fleeing felon. We'll go ahead and look at the video, and then we'll decide whether or not, does this fit the criteria under Tennessee v. Garner? Okay.
Okay? I'm going to put a warrant out for your arrest. Okay? Be aware about who you hang out with, ma'am. Stand by real quick. 1396 Burley Court. I'll be out with 2 Code 24 individuals. Going to chapter 2.
Can I just sit down?
You can have a seat, ma'am. Stop. Stop! Stop!
Some might be scratching their head and going, gee, why did Dave stop the videotape here? Because this is the first shot. Officer Hernandez is now utilizing deadly force against this female driver because she's driving off. The first shot is the one you look at in terms of the totality of the circumstances. What totality of the circumstances existed at the time that Hernandez pulled the trigger that first time? This is what we need to look at. Don't have to look at anything else. Tennessee v. Garner, 1985. Court case involving the use of deadly force by police against a fleeing felon. So, what did the court decide? The 9 killers on the Supreme Court. Number 1, that the suspect had committed a felony or was suspected of committing a felony or was known to have committed a felony. The key word is felony. Number 2, probable cause to believe that allowing their escape would place the lives of the officer or others at risk of grave bodily injury or death. So there's our 2-pronged test. Let's go ahead and take it and plug it back into the incident and see how Officer Hernandez did.
The judge told you, because I spoke to the judge the last time I put that warrant out, you're not to be on the property. Doesn't matter if you're in the fucking car. Doesn't matter if you're flying over the fucking air. You're on the property. Okay? I'm going to put a warrant out for your arrest. Okay? Be aware about who you hang out with, ma'am. Stand by real quick. 1396 Burley Court. I'll be out with 2 Code 24 individuals. Going to chapter 2.
Can I just sit down?
You can have a seat, ma'am.
Remember, under the first prong of the 2-prong test, Tennessee v. Garner, was she a felon? Had she committed a felony? Was she suspected of committing a felony? She hadn't committed any crime, and nor had the passenger. This was an unlawful detention, and everything the officer did after that now becomes suspect. But what I'm afraid they're going to do is, she committed a felony because she backed up, the door was open, she struck the officer with the door, that made her a felon, or it could be that she was just nervous. I mean, if you watch the whole thing, the way he talked to them, the way he treated them, he used so much profanity, which was completely unnecessary and unprofessional. And he also made a comment to her, who hadn't committed a crime, that he was going to make life as miserable as possible, or something to that effect. I'm going to make life as miserable as possible for you. So what exactly was he going to do in terms of making her life as miserable as possible? My opinion, for what it's worth, no, she wasn't a felon. I don't think that there was anything about that was intentional. Like I said, she was probably really, really nervous. But then we get to the second prong of the 2-prong test under Tennessee v. Garner. Could the officer articulate probable cause that by allowing her to escape, that his life or the life of another was at risk of grave bodily injury or death? I don't think so. I don't think for 1 second that she was putting anybody at risk of great bodily injury or death. She wanted to leave, and it was an open parking lot. There's nobody else even in view as far as I can tell.
Stop! Stop! Stop!
It was 6 seconds more or less, from the time that Hernandez would have perceived a so-called threat to doing this, firing that first round and putting it downrange. I don't know if it went into her, but he did fire 2 more, total of 3, and she drove off a little distance and slumped dead over the steering wheel. So, was she a felon, and was she placing anybody's life at risk? I'll let you guys decide. My opinion, as you know, is no. It's an unjustified use of deadly force, an unjustified killing by the heroes in blue, highly trained, highly professional. They go forth every day and they place their lives on the line for those of us they protect and serve. Yeah, sure, protect and serve the life out of us. Well done.